Hi everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful Valentine's Day. If you happen to be lucky enough to receive some flowers, or maybe you bought yourself some flowers, I often love to buy myself flowers, which I kind of did. So today I thought the day after Valentine's Day, because I didn't even get a chance yesterday after receiving my roses from my wonderful husband Greg, I didn't even get a chance to make an arrangement, and I happened to go to Trader Joe's. I haven't been there in quite some time, so I couldn't resist buying some filler flowers. And because I did have an idea that I would be getting some flowers, I didn't know what kind, whether they would be tulips or roses, because Greg knows I love both tulips and roses. So I was hoping I would get a light color like white or a soft pink or yellow. So I just picked some Greenery, some filler flowers, which Trader Joe's is so good at supplying. So I thought it'd be nice to come along as I put together this quick arrangement today. So thanks for joining me. So I picked up some seeded eucalyptus. I love seeded eucalyptus. 3 years ago when we got married, I had some seeded eucalyptus in my bouquet, in my bridal bouquet, and so it was really nice to find some of this. It was the last bunch of seeded eucalyptus. I just love how they drape so beautifully. And then I got some alstroemeria, which is so reliable and long-lasting in a vase. I'm not that fond of lilies anymore. I used to love them years ago, but alstroemeria to me is sort of a version of a lily. To me, they resemble a lily. I don't know if they're in the lily family. I would love to grow these in the garden. I believe they're a perennial. I've seen a nursery owner talk about this in her garden. So I would love to get my hands on a plant of alstroemeria, because they do grow to a big, beautiful flowering shrub. So if you know where you can get some seed or come across some plants, let me know in the comments below. The other package here are some mini mums in the lime green. And then I got some craspedia. Remember in my last video, I got my hands on some artificial craspedia. After this, we finished the bouquet, I'll compare it to the artificial craspedia. And I was tempted to grow this from seed, but I think I read somewhere that it's not that easy to grow. And I'm wondering if I can dry these. I just love them. I noticed a few of the channels that I follow, they're fans of Trader Joe's too. I wish there was one closer to me. The closest one is about a half an hour away, a nearby town. And then the last one is wax flower. I just love wax flower. I also use these in my bridal bouquet. I think they're just a little bit wild, and they're just a beautiful filler flower. And then, of course, the focal flower are my beautiful roses. Aren't they gorgeous? Now, I told Greg a long time ago to never get sucked into buying roses or flowers from a florist and pay exorbitant prices. Now, that's not to say that I don't support the floral business. It's just, I think it's just so ridiculously expensive. And I saw an ad online about a local florist that was selling a bouquet for $150. And the beauty of being a gardener and a amateur florist like myself, I love to arrange the flowers, so I would never want him to pay the fees for buying roses from a florist. So, I mean, that is really what you're paying for. And of course, unfortunately, a lot of roses this time of year are imported. So I've already treated the water. I use room temperature water is best for roses. A lot of times if you want to quickly hydrate your flowers, if they've been sitting, maybe in your car for a while and they're getting a little dry, you can use warm water to hydrate them quickly. But because I quickly put these into a bucket of water overnight, we went out for dinner last night, and after Greg got home from work, he gave me the flowers and I put them in a vase of water right away, this vase in particular, and then this morning and just a few minutes ago I took them out of the water, so they're already hydrated. And the thing about warm water is it will tend to open up your blooms. So I just like to use room temperature, which it is, and I already put the package of floral food in here. And I'm going to actually start, I think, with my my filler flowers. And I think I'll start first because I'm not going to put a frog in here like I sometimes do with my bigger mouth vases or my pitchers. I often use one of those little frogs, or I tape the top. But in this case, because I have so many fillers, I'm just going to use the fillers as sort of a netting or a base. So as you can see, these are pretty heavy branches and they're very floppy already. So I'm going to actually break up these branches individually. And just sort of drape them. And I want to use the length of them, so I'm just going to take about ½ inch off. And I always like to cut on an angle. And sometimes when your stems for your foliage are kind of woody like this, split open the stem so that it gets as much hydration as possible. Sometimes I just cut in the middle there, but because it's already been, let's see, let's try this again. Okay. So I just cut in the middle, and you can do this with hydrangeas too, kind of split the stem so that it sucks up as much water. And this being one of the original branches, it's super thick. And you'll see here in a minute that it's already creating a netting effect in the base there. Can you see that? So there'll be a nice sort of area for the other flowers to step into. I think I'll go ahead and use all of these. Next, I'm going to come in with my alstroemeria. Often I like to just do the roses on their own, but I want to create sort of a nice full arrangement, since I did buy some of these fillers. And any stems of leaves, any leaves that you find that are going to touch the water, you need to remove those to avoid having any bacteria forming. The other nice thing is that sometimes roses, depending on how long they've been sitting in the shop's refrigerator, depending on how fresh they are, and of course they're probably imported from somewhere like Ecuador. When you have other interesting filler flowers, once you start to remove your focal flowers like your roses or your tulips, when they start to wilt, you're left with some other interesting flowers that will still maintain a really pretty bouquet. So this little guy here is already fallen. And I just found another. Did this fall out? Maybe one fell out. It's already so pretty. Look at that. Absolutely love seeded eucalyptus. I just love how natural it is. I wish I had space in the garden to grow eucalyptus. I've seen it growing, and it's, you know, it can grow about 6 feet tall, and I just don't have space for that. Maybe one day. I would probably create almost like a fence. So wax flower, it sort of reminds me a little bit of evergreen foliage. So you do want to try and remove as much of this foliage down below that's going to hit the vase, and it's not going to show anyway, just to reduce any bacteria forming in the water. Because this is a really fine flower, I like to create little bunches of it so that you can appreciate them together. And I'm just taking my hand, and it comes off really easily. Putting a bunch of wax flower together really shows it off, as opposed to spreading them all out evenly throughout the bouquet. You're going to get more of an impact if you see them in bunches together. So I'm going to put together at least three branches together. This one, I think I end up with 4 branches together, and I'm just it's already smelling so good. let's start putting in these beautiful roses. You can open up a few of these roses by twirling them around a little bit like that. Opening them up a little bit. I know my mom likes her roses closed, but it's nice to open them up just a little bit. I cut the stem on an angle. Oh, just gorgeous. Again, I'm defoliating most of them. I can see why roses are so expensive, because they have to dethorn them, and you know, like there's one there, and that's a lot of work. And if you have any outer protective petals that are getting kind of spent, you just remove those. This really reminds me of my wedding bouquet, minus the blue hydrangeas and blue delphiniums. Don't know if I want to use them. Let's see, what do you think? I think not. So there you have it. Do you like that? So I stepped back and I looked at the eucalyptus, and my husband agreed it's just drooping too much. So we're going to take those out and see if we can use them. I should have known when I saw them at Trader Joe's that they were a little bit floppier than usual. So what I might do is set them in the center more. And yes, I'm already liking it better.